So, One Piece chapter 1112. My first impression after reading this chapter is that Oda is an absolute demon for how he did that cliffhanger at the end of the chapter. Because I want to read more, and it's one of the things like I really gotta get on the ball on communicating to get the thumbnails done for this. Cause man, I want to read the next chapter, but like I'm literally recording these as I'm getting the thumbnails for them, and I want to get caught up so bad. I really want to get caught up so bad, man. So let's back things up. So the first thing that really stands out with this chapter is how Oda throws us headfirst into the chaos, and one of the things that really grabbed my attention on it is that we get the reveal of like the world government, in particular the elders. They're just as scared of Bonney as they are some of the Straw Hats. Not even say like after probably the threat that they view Luffy, they're looking at Bonney potentially as, I don't want to say a Luffy level threat because that's disingenuous, but like if Luffy is a tier 1, I would say like Bonney is like a tier 3 level threat. And so I am curious to see what happens with Luffy and Kuma and Bonney moving forward, because it feels like Oda's building towards something there. Now, the next thing that happens here is that, we get to check in with Franky, and you get the humorous moment where like after we find out that they're saying that Bonney has the potential to destroy an entire country, which Jesus, we get the hilarious moment where Franky's like battling and he's taking out some of the fodder, and when Bonney hears her father get called a weapon, all of a sudden she goes from being in her little kid mode to all of a sudden being grown woman Bonney. And just seeing how, in context, this is crazy, but just seeing how Franky, after Bonney just kicks one of the Marines in the chin for calling her dad a weapon, he's got the over-the-top expression. He's like, stop it. It just looks wrong. And again, it just takes on a whole new meaning, because like Bonney, for the longest time, like you thought this was a grown woman. And it's like Oda just like completely flipped the script, and like now anybody that was simping over Bonney before, it's like the FBI has your hard drive right now. I will never forgive him for this. This is right up there with Kiku, man. Like, oh my God. Like the traps, like you can tell we getting close to the end, because it's like Oda is just running out of fucks to give at this point. Now, the next thing we get here, I believe that this is York and this is Mars. They're showing up, and during the Labophase and the transmission's going on, and Mars is like, dude, like this is clearly the room that we saw where they're broadcasting. So what happened here? And Mars takes the approach that I take, right? Like one of the things that my old high school football coach was, Jesus, that was a long time ago, but like one of the things my old high school football coach used to say was like, if you're going to make a play, just make a play. Like if you're going to go off script, it better be the most amazing thing I've ever seen, because if you make the highlight reel for all the wrong reasons, you will hear about it. And so it's basically the message, if you're going to screw up all the way. Just go ahead and commit. Don't half-ass anything. And so what you're getting here is like Mars is like, screw it. Like, I don't know where they're broadcasting from. This was clearly recorded. I don't know where that transponder snail is. So I'm just going to blow everything up. And once this happens, like York is like, dude, like if you do this, you got to think about it from this perspective. Like the weapons are on floor B, and then the power plant's on floor 1, and floor C, floor 3 has the gas cylinders. If you destroy any one of them, it's going to set off a chain reaction. You can't just destroy all of them. Like, that's just going too far. And like when you're listening to the logic, it's like what she's saying makes a lot of sense. It's like being told like, hey, like you are walking on a minefield. Now it's not the right time for you to say, let's go ahead and start skipping rocks. If you do that, we're all going to die. And the reason why I like that is because you see the contrast. And the contrast you're seeing is like when York is saying like that'll blow up the Punk Records itself. And the contrast between that is like Mars does not care. And that just goes back to the last chapter where Rob Lucci is like, hey man, one of my friends, Kaku, he's held hostage, my subordinate, my crewmate. You need to rescue him. And he's like, man, if you step on an ant, you don't think twice about it. And you're seeing more of that ideology. And I like that we're seeing that as the elders are transformed into monsters. Very subtle what Oda's doing there. Very subtle, but obviously intentional. Now, the next thing we get is that York is like, there's a small transponder snail. It's shaped like a triangle. So if you can find that, if you can find the transponder snail that was recently completed, then you can manage to stop the transmission. Now, as that's going on, Stussy is talking to Kaku, and Stussy is, catching some heat for a little bit from Kaku. Kaku's like, you betrayed us, and now you're the one being betrayed. You're being left behind, and that's where you get like the reveal. Like Stussy's like, dude, like I didn't get betrayed by nobody. I chose to stay back here because I got one final job to do. And you can tell in this moment, like Kaku just went from having that smug look on his face to realizing that he's playing with somebody that's got a royal flush. And with somebody like Stussy, like to have that type of mentality there, it kind of gives the vibes like she knows she's not walking out of this alive. And that just makes it more dangerous because when you have somebody in a position like that, there's truly no beating them at all. And so after this, that's where you catch up with more of the Straw Hats. And what I found fascinating about this entire interaction is that they know that time is running out. And for someone like Nico Robin, she's in even more danger than ever before because the elders are here. And if they can get their hands on her, they're going to have an absolute field day. And Usopp's giving the update about the Coupe de Burst is almost ready. And as they're preparing, you get the sense of foreboding that, hey, things are not what they seem like because it's just going a little too peachy. You got all the elders here. And Oda does a really good job in managing to distract you because you're thinking like, okay, like all they got to do is just wait for Jinbei to show up with Zoro. And once he shows up with Zoro, they're home free. They're going to get off of here. And the way Oda manages to distract is he puts you back with Luffy, with Dory and Brogy. And they got this giant monster coming up out the ground, sucking everything up. And Luffy uses the last of his power in Gear 5, absolutely flatlines it, and Luffy goes back into old man Luffy mode. And you get the humorous moment where Dory and Brogy, they're absolutely confused. And you have to kind of think, like for somebody that, does not have the information that we have as readers, or by the time that the anime animates this, people that are anime watchers, for somebody like Dory and Brogy to see Luffy go through the different changes he's going through, it would definitely flip you out because it's like what they said. This is absolutely abnormal. And the hilarious thing about it is that like Luffy, and I see what Oda did here too, but when Luffy eats that shark meat, all of a sudden, he doesn't just get his body back. He gets a super buff body, like a miniature Garp body. And the reason I see what Oda did here is Shark, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a long time. Like I've told the story before. My mom used to have a catering company. And I'll never forget this. We had one wedding where the people wanted shark. And I want to say it was either my mom or my uncle. One of them said, and I might be misremembering what they said, but I think tuna is a fatty fish and shark is the high protein, or it might be and vice versa. But we had to serve both of them. And one of the meats, I think it was tuna, was supposed to be high in protein and high in fat too. And so, and like you had to cook the shark a certain type of way, but it was so nutrient rich. And so to see Luffy bulk up in the way he did, I thought that was kind of cool. If I'm remembering right, that's very intentional by Oda there. And like Luffy just goes through, hits the Gum Red Rock and absolutely destroys the creature that is on there. Dory and Brogy, they got the humor thing going on where like, how hard is that thing? Because Luffy, even though he's used armament hockey in this and everything, Luffy's hand is hurting. And then that's where you get the bombshell. What looks like to be Saturn has shown up to where the Straw Hats are. And what's fascinating about this is that none of the Straw Hats are strong enough to take on Saturn, if that is him. And I'm going to say it is him just because of, you know, like the crab-like appearance and everything. And as that's going on, you see more of the elders have made contact, because now we see that Bonney and Franky are staring down an elder. And then you have another elder that has found the transponder snail. And what we find out is like Vegapunk's transmission has 1 minute left. And it looks like this might be it, unless there is a hidden trick up the sleeve. Now, what I do want to say is the fact that like Luffy appears to be on the way, and Zoro we know is on the way. Oda's going to subvert expectations. I don't know how Nami and the rest of them are going to stall for time, because like Nami and Usopp, they have gotten stronger, but they are the cowards of the crew. And like Chopper is the same thing. And so I am curious to see how they're going to be able to do something, because it looks like Oda's like pitting multiple battles, getting ready to start all over again. That's how we know I'm getting to like the climax of this arc. There was already a ticking clock, but then you have this where like different battles are being set up. I don't think Oda's stretching this out much longer. Like I really feel like we're at a situation where it's going to wrap up rather soon. And so I don't know if like maybe it's one of the Vegapunk clones that do something different, but it feels like Oda is getting ready to pull the rug out from underneath us. I just don't know how. I got that sneaking suspicion on that. But my chapter question to you guys is going to be, on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rank what Vegapunk was able to do with that transmission? Even if it was just to stall for time, and even if it was intentional, how well thought out was a plan like that? Let me know down in the comment section below. As always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.